Hello, everyone. Welcome to our exploration of the paradigm shift in federal education grants over the last 20 years. I invite you to rate your understanding of this shift before we begin and reassess it after our journey. My professional experience has led me across many states evaluating grant-funded programs in schools. These evaluations are sometimes done for grants being implemented by school systems, universities, nonprofits, and sometimes by state governments. Previously, many federal education grants were aimed at-risk students, a term that was vaguely defined, often associated with low-income or minority students, and the services provided may have been well-intended, but they lacked specificity or any information about what they were trying to change. Many products on the market claimed to fix these students' issues because you could purchase these products with grant funds, but they often fell short of changing anything for these students. Back in the day, these grants described the target populations using demographic characteristics. They implied that these students were academically challenged and their situation wouldn't change. The same students were served year after year, a cycle that seemingly never ended. Everything changed in the grant accountability world with the introduction of No Child Left Behind. Standardized tests shifted from aptitude measurements to proficiency-based evaluations, and it meant that schools could no longer give different standards for different demographic groups. Federal education grants had to redefine their goals in terms of things like academic proficiency, or reduce suspensions, or increase graduation rates. They had to link the services provided to these measurable outcomes. This move not only disrupted the status quo, but also presented new challenges. One such challenge was data silos. When we needed to pull data to verify program success, we realized the information was not easily accessible. It took significant effort to verify and validate the data required for our evaluations. And program staff, in their defense, they usually couldn't get the data they needed to identify the target populations. And even if they could, usually they didn't know where to get it, but they didn't have the skills for manipulating the data to run a list to see who met certain pre-criteria. So they did what they had always done. They used demographic information to identify the target population and then just described the students in terms of the academic and behavior data as if they had had it. In fact, they would report to us, these are the students who are reading below grade level, when they didn't have any reading scores. They just assumed they were reading below grade level. Let's touch on the concept of equity. We heard a lot of information, a lot of discussion about equity as ways to identify students for services was changing. The conventional image of equity versus equality has everyone on an equal or tailored box to see over the fence, but some kids are too short. In education, the real question is who needs what? And this I found on the web, and the way that they've laid this out, this is what people would tell us when we tell them you're serving the wrong students. This is a program for students who are reading well below grade level or failing their math courses, and they would explain that the students were at risk and what they needed, what they were getting was equitable because they needed additional support. And also, when we helped school counselors identify students for advanced courses, when low-income and minority students were identified, often they would be met with resistance, and the excuse was equity, that it wouldn't be equitable to put them in those courses because they're at risk. Our education system has traditionally classified students into those who are going to be thinkers and those who are going to be doers. And the thinkers were prepped for challenging, enriched careers, while the doers were given rote skills. This structure has been a key part of the American culture. So when it comes to equity, the main debate revolves around understanding who needs what. Some say the doers and the thinkers need different resources, while others argue for the abolishment of the divide altogether. Let's dispel a myth that's been circulating in our education system. Career paths through community colleges, often the end goal of a high school CTE track, are not a consolation prize. They are not designed for so-called low achievers. On the contrary, today these pathways demand a substantial level of thinking, problem-solving skills, and technical acumen. They can lead to rewarding, high-demand careers that contribute significantly to our society and economy. Yet many students on these tracks in high school are assumed, often incorrectly, to be from low-income backgrounds and underachieving academically. They are encouraged or even advised to enroll in remedial level courses. These courses, designed to boost foundational skills, ironically end up restricting their academic growth and limiting their potential. By underpreparing these students, we do them a great disservice. We inadvertently undermine the future success in the very pathway they chose. This unfair assumption and its repercussions on students' future prospects is another conundrum we seek to address in this series. And now, once again, rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 on your ability to give details about the shifts that education has gone through in the last 20 years.